So, the way it is now, a study finds by Natalia Marfil that in Colorado Springs, the prostitutes were 18 times more likely to be murdered than people who do not prostitute, clearly showing an incredibly high violence surrounding sex workers. And since it's illegal here, that means there's sex workers that are outside in the streets prostituting themselves. I have a source from the World Health Organization that states that law enforcement authorities and law governing prostitution have in some cases increased the risk of violence against sex workers rather than protect them against it. Meaning that sometimes this happens where prostitutes are arrested and the police officers force them to have sexual acts with them in order for them to be released without going to jail. So if sex workers were considered a legitimate economic sector, the argument goes where work conditions, fair wages, injury compensation, and other basic employment issues were matters of law, the sex industry of those within it would be less exposed to violence and other harms. And when it goes about talking about condoms and that workers don't want to use condoms, I have a quote from Violence and Legalized Brothel Prostitution in Nevada, where they interviewed women and they say that all of the women we interviewed were passionate about expressing their support for these laws. For example, they insisted that they always use condoms, but if the client prefers to or not. And if the client is adamant that they don't want to use the condom, they could always press the alert buttons or the panic buttons, or they could call for help, or they could deny, the service. Yeah. The United Nations Human Rights Council states that criminalization of clients has not reduced trafficking or sex work, but has increased sex workers' vulnerability to violence, harmed HIV responses, and infringed on sex workers' rights. Prostitution should not be a crime. Prostitutes are not committing an inherently harmful act. While the spread of disease and other detriments are possible in the practice of prostitution, criminalization is a sure way of exacerbating rather than addressing such effects. Under a labor model, U.S. sex workers could report health risks at brothels to OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They could actually unionize and lobby for stronger protections against police enforcement, as I stated, that police officers would force women to have sex with them for them to be released. And politically, sex workers do not have the same rights as legally employed people in America, such as minimum wage, freedom from discrimination, and safe work environment, jeopardizing the standard of living of all sex workers. So I would like to end it with a quote that states, the homicide rate for prostitutes is estimated 204 out of 100,000 according to the American Journal of Epidemiology. This makes participating in the sex industry the most dangerous job in America. Thank you.
Thank you.